Hi everyone and welcome back to Project P.E.A.C.E. Yes, Satisfactory 1.2 continuing. Awesome. So, remember last time when I said like concrete is actually like my limiting factor at the moment? So I addressed that in between episodes, right? And you're just waiting for the miners to catch up, right? These have both been upgraded to Mark II, right? So we should now get 180, which means, yeah, there we go. I think it already caught up. 60 concrete per minute is coming in, so actually doubled our production. And I think this was well worth it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for catch-up, though. I don't think I've added anything else or done much, except, hang on, I did unlock some things. I went ahead and grabbed myself, right, the glass foundations there, which you can get in the architecture tab with the structural frame set. This was 10 coupons, right, and you get the glass floors with this, which is very cool. So that has been added. Thought I should mention that, and I think that's pretty much it though. Yeah, so today, the plan's pretty simple. I do want to get Nobelisks. This will help explore, right? And we need a good bit of exploration to happen, because as you can see there, I want to find 45 hard drives. I want some yellow, and oh my god. Little typo there. I want some yellow, some purple slugs. I want to get these researches done. And speaking of research, there is a couple of research notes that we can actually pick up that are also very helpful to us. And then, just because we will have like the exploration and stuff, right, this is quite a lot of work off camera, I think. I don't want to show you how I run around. That is not that interesting, right? However, we will build a couple of things today. We definitely want to automate AI limiters, right? As well as the quartz. So we get some silica and some quartz crystals automated. And the biggest thing, I haven't even put it down actually. I do want to get access to dimensional depots, which means we are going to need SAM, and the easiest way to get it is via the Nobelisks. So I did grab like 5 stacks of sulfur and 5 stacks of coal. Right, so let's jump into the sulfur tree here. You need an initial 10 to unlock this tree, right? So let's do that. And now we can unlock black powder. There we go, and that opens up the Nobelisk detonator for us, as well as another hand equipment slot, and I think both of these things are actually quite nice to get. So let me handcraft the 150 black powder, and we can take a quick glance through the other things here. We can now unlock the expanded tool belt here, so that is another hand equipment slot. There we go, let's grab that, that's pretty neat. And oh, we probably should also do this at some point, so we can craft a couple of inhalers. And then yeah, see here we are going to need some SAM fluctuators, so this is why we need our SAM, right? We definitely want to go and unlock these things, as well as... Now we can't do this yet, but yeah, laying the groundwork to get the summer slooping unlocked as well. And I'm not against unlocking more stuff in here, like the power switch. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I don't really think we need the... Yeah, but see, the slugs here. Oh, actually, we can already unlock that, because I did find a couple of yellow slugs, right? So that is cool. Awesome. It's just a couple of resources that we had on us anyways. And then, yeah, now we need purple and... yeah, that's good preparation. So I will meet you in a bit once we get our Nobelisk detonator crafted and have a couple of Nobelisks on our hands as well. And with that, we do have 100 Nobelisks on the ready, which is amazing. And we have our detonator. Nice. Okay, cool. Really excited about this, and as I said, we mainly need this to get access to SAM, but also to just clear out some of the more pesky things on the map, like these, they're over there somewhere, right? The gas towers, and yeah, One thing I forgot to mention in the catch-up, I have unlocked the expanded power infrastructure and hypertubes, right? So for now, I want to go ahead and establish, I don't know where we should, maybe over here actually. Maybe this is the place for us, right? Add in the first power tower, which will be probably just, I don't know, a beacon, I guess. And also just a travel place, right? Or the start of a travel point, something along these lines. I love the ones with the platform. Makes it really easy, right, for you to just climb up and go ahead and travel faster, because remember, we do have the zip line, right? So now, if we want to travel out, we can just grab these power towers, place them down, and go across them. And I'm just going to place these down over to the Quartz in the north side of the map. Oh, went a little bit too far there. Right, and I will bring you guys back in once we are over there. This should be it, if I remember correctly. Yep. See, now here, we are just going to place a couple of these guys, get back out, open up a path. Yeah, that looks correct. Aha! Yep. Awesome. Oh, and also, we have some mushrooms in here, which will be useful for the research, right? So let's grab like 10 stacks for now, bring it home, right? And then we can think about automating these things later on. I will meet you. Alrighty, we are back at base, and that means we can finally unlock the SAM research tree. That is very important, and as you can see, first we get reanimated SAM. That will be our first step of production, and then we are going to need SAM fluctuators. Now, we will need the manufacturers to automate this, right? So for now we can't do that, and we have to handcraft it. It's fine, right? We just need to craft enough for a couple of depots, and then we will be good. So let's get. Can we craft 10 of those? We should be able to, right? Well, we need to unlock it first, so there we go. Good. And we needed this, right, to get access to alien energy harnessing. So that's good. And also now we will be able to unlock the dimensional depot research. Before we do this, let's go over to power slugs, and yeah, we can do the purple ones as well. These are now scannable, right? Very, very good. And this is very late game thing here, which we will probably come back to at a later date, and that's absolutely fine, right? So there we go. We can also, if we go to the nutrients, we can finally do the mushroom research as well, right? So very good progress here. And then, yeah, for this one we need a little bit more materials. Let's add this to the to-do list. I will do this off camera, that's fine, right? And now we can craft the SAM fluctuators. We need more wire though. Let's actually just get this done, right? There we go. And now we will be able to unlock the nutritional inhalers. And these are quite nice. If you find a lot, or if you pick up a lot of the edibles, you will be able to craft it in that with that recipe, which is honestly really sweet to do. There we go. Guess I didn't read it properly. There we go. Let's unlock the dimensional depots. And these are so very useful, right? And I definitely also want to upgrade those. Now let's check. How many spheres do we have? 7. 7. Okay, so I guess it would be nice to get the stack size upgrade, the first one, and the first upload speed upgrade. Like that. I probably will have to run back and forth for this, but that is a-okay with me, right? So yeah, we are almost done with the research I wanted to get done, right? And as you can see down here, I have set these up a little bit. So this was just crafting some more rebar ammo, and this one crafted us some of the black powder, 530 actually. So we can now throw 530 in here. And I guess 130, there we go, of these pipes. And we can set this up for nobelisks, there we go. And that will craft us a couple of nobelisks in the background. There we go, and this one can now craft our reanimated SAM, so we will be able to craft our SAM fluctuators once we are ready, right? So let's bump this up. Can't quite provide the 300 though, right? So... nope. Yeah, 60 it is. Okay, 60 per minute. Not bad. Not bad. That will not take too long, right? And yeah, I mean, we need to craft like 94 of the SAM fluctuators, and I also need way more Mercer-spheres, right? These are just for the upgrades, but I also need some of those to actually place down the dimensional depots. So what I will do, right, is go on a big exploration spree. Basically, I want to go way out to the east, then to the north, and sweep the northwest section as well. Mostly in the Dune Desert. I don't know if I need to venture any further than that. And yeah, just grab, as I said, a couple of hard drives and also pick up Mercer-spheres and summer sloops. And that way I can do this in the evenings, right? And spread it out over a couple of days and just do 1 or 2 or 3 exploration sessions because that just feels very nice. If you don't have to do it all in one big swoop, right? So yeah, I think the next time we are going to see us, we will have a lot of depots to place, and also we might need to rethink our storage solution here, right? So hey, we'll see. Alrighty, so here's the screenshot of what we are going to do. As you can see, not too complicated. We just need to bring in 50 iron ore, right? That will be all we need for the copper sheets. And as for the Caterium, we are going to need either a pure node or what we are doing here, a Mark II miner on a normal node, right? So let's start with the Caterium. We need 3 smelters for this. And I'm not quite sure how I want to do this. I might rearrange this power tower, by the way. I just went ahead and tried out something. Let's double check. Yeah, we are. Okay, that's working quite nicely already. So I think we could try. It's not a lot of space, I know. So my idea might not work the way I want it to. However, there is the option, right, of doing this. I think we should. Yeah, that gives me way more space. That's a little bit better in my opinion. Yeah, that works out great. So let's get our smelters ready, and we can start, I don't know, maybe just over here. Or I do this actually. Let's set up Caterium, right? And now we can do a little bit of maths, right? We could also do this differently. However, we deliver 120 or divided by 45 divided by 3 machines times 100 will give us our clock speed. And then we can just copy smelter, right? Place them down. And need a splitter that clips. I don't want it to clip, so there we go. And then a Mark II. Like so. Awesome. And we are able to just merge these up, right? So Ah, it clips. Hate when it does that. There we go. Let's now take care of the copper smelting. I think we can just do this over here. That shouldn't be too much of a big deal, right? And instead of 30, these both need to be set to 25 per minute. And that will give us our 50, right? So no worries here. We can do actually just that. Connect those up like so. We are going to need 4 constructors, which we want to load balance. So let's check our constructors. 4x load balanced. There we go. We do have our blueprint for this. And if we want to line this up, ooh, we might have to add in another foundation. That's fine though, right? We can absolutely live with that. So let's place this one down. Right here. And now let's set it to Quickwire. And all of these will produce 50 per minute. Like so. Let's copy the settings. And you can either go in here and then paste settings, or press Ctrl V. There we go. Right, now it's a little bit special here. We are going to need 100 on one side and 100 on the other side, so we need to do the merging a little bit differently. So, well, we could just do this. Let's merge these two and these two. Can we merge this without problems? Yeah, I think so. Okay, that works. Much better. And we can see, yep, I did copy all of this over. Perfect. Alright, so now I think we have to add in a second story so this can look decent, right? And I have made a blueprint for this. There we go. Let's just notch this in place. Yeah, that's decent. Ah, there we go. Now it works. Okay, I was confused there for a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. So let's grab our Quickwire. Why did I put down 3 storage containers, by the way? You're only going to need to the Quickwire like that. Perfect. And I don't need to store that many. Don't need to store that many AI limiters, right? So I'm just going to use a dimensional depot for those. And then we are going to use a dimensional depot for... Oh, wow, I clipped inside somehow. And we are going to use a dimensional depot on top of our Quickwire container. That works out fairly nicely in my eyes. And we know we are producing 100 per minute for storage, and we don't really need a sign here, but I still want to put it on. And that will just be 5 per minute. Why 5? It's just one assembler, so it makes a lot of sense. So I'm not sure if we need the second story now, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, right? It's fine though, it's fine. Going to have one assembler with the default recipe, right? Perfect. That is all we realistically need, right? Cool. Oh, okay, yeah. So, let's grab our Quickwire and our copper sheets. Make sure we have a Mark II belt here, like so. I'm not really that happy about this. I can see movement on the other side though, which means, yep, our copper is getting smelted. Yeah, now we can clearly see that this is 50 per minute. Okay, it's really hard with the ore, but with the ingots, it's very easy to spot, right? Let's move up here, and dang it. Sometimes this happens with elevators. And it's quite difficult to see sometimes where the issue is, right? So let me do this. Yeah, we can. Just to see if this works now. I also like how they look. Pretty cool. Like a server in a rack, right? Okay, I think that's working now. Yes. Okay, good. Alright. So yeah, that's the whole magic here, I guess, right? There we go. So let me explore a little bit more, and then we are going to build a little outpost for our quartz needs. Alrighty guys, so we are at the quartz. So we have two normal nodes here, and I have placed Mark 2 miners in both of them, right? So that is 240 quartz per minute. However, we need 150 for our silica and 90 for our quartz crystals. So the way I've done this is we split the 120 here into two streams of 60, right? And then the 60 into two of 30, and we can combine the 60 and the 30 to 90, and 120 and this 30 to 150, right? And in here we do have actually a decent amount of space for some shenanigans, right? So yeah, I think resource transportation can be done in here. We have a little bit of space, right? So that seems good. And to deal with this, we probably have to come back to it later. And that's absolutely fine, right? Okay, so we are going to need, like, we can use one manifold for the silica, and then we can load balance the quartz crystals. Actually, that makes more sense. So quartz crystals, we are going to produce 54 of those. So divide that by 22.5. Divided by 3 machines times 100. Oh, that's perfect. That's just 80%. So 18. Oh yeah, that was easy maths, wasn't it? We could have done this in our head. It's fine. It's fine. So that is just going to be a very simple affair, I guess, right? Of placing this guy here and bringing the belts over straight mode. Like so, and then grab ourselves a floor hole here, and this needs to be Mark 2. That connects in perfectly fine, right? And we are going to provide this. Maybe want to curve it around this way. Yeah, that seems about right. Okay. Cool. So that is 90 already dealt with, right? Going to need a lot of these guys. Honestly, I think we might have to turn this around. Yeah, I think that would make a bit more sense. Like that. Okay. That's fine. And here we are just going to start the manifold right here. That's 2 machines, 4 machines, 6 machines, and then 8 or 7, right? Go, let's grab the constructors. And let's set those up now. So, silica, and those allergies are driving me nuts. We are going to produce 250. Divide that by the 37.5, right? And we're going to use 7 machines. That is 95.2381%. That is quite ridiculous, isn't it? But yeah, that way we should be a-okay. There we go. Now let's take other side as well. Or place the other side, I guess. There we go. And instead of a splitter, we can just continue the line here. Okay, so 250 means Mark III belt though. Like so. And we can just use Mark III here as well. That doesn't matter too much, hopefully. We'll see. And connect this up, right? Let me get this all hooked up to power, and then we can start this and take a look at it while it's running. So yeah, you can clearly see here that 120 getting split into 260 lines and then 230 lines, right? And here I just added in a basic wall, and then I added in the Mark III belt, obviously, for the manifold, right, for the Silica. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, as you can see here, I've added in some white concrete, and I'm just going to experiment a little bit with how I want to build this. Now, I don't know, maybe we even go for steel walls in this case, right, and add in a couple of windows, which we will be able to do because now we produce silica, right? So yeah, here, as you can clearly see, all of these three guys are producing our quartz crystals, and then this... And yeah, like every manifold, this just will need to fill up, right? Or warm up, I should say. And then it will be good. But you can clearly see our two products are getting produced and stored. And since both of these are mainly needed in not that big quantities, but all over the map, I think some dimensional depots are going to be incredibly helpful for those, right? So yeah, you can clearly see some of my exploration spoils in here as well, right? Found a couple of things, more heat sinks, decent amount of computers, right? So it was definitely a good thing to explore a little bit more. We have motors, heavy model frames, pretty decent. So now, oh, I also found 8 turbo motors, that's quite cool, and 2 high-speed connectors. Yeah, quartz crystals we can absolutely pin, same goes for the silica, right? And that is good timing, right, because we do have our unlocks now, where we can go to the walls, for example. There's the full frame windows, I quite like, and we can also just push them into the middle of the foundation like this, right? And add in a whole glass window here. I like it. I do like it. I just need to figure out what I want to do with all of this, right? And if these are indeed the windows I would like to place. That is definitely something that I can figure out though. And as you can see, because we have the awesome sink, right, I also added in these stairs. I just have this open and railed off. And that got me thinking that I maybe just want to have railings along the side here and leave this as it is for now, right? Let's see how that looks. How's that looking? Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense, right? And then I might have to address the foundation at the bottom, at the power tower. But yeah, that gives it a nice little trim. I think that looks better. Cool. That is Quartz automated, right? Which is very exciting. And now we need to think about how we can make this prettier, right? So one last thing for today, because I did Sloopcraft some DNA capsules, right? Yeah, 45 coupons, that is amazing. Let's grab those. And speaking of Sloopcrafting, we should take our slugs out and set those up. There we go. That is going to be very helpful. We have a decent amount of ammunition, which is very good. But yeah, we are definitely able to grab more. There's another coupon right there. Oh, that's not the coupon. Shoot. There it is. Okay. that is a decent amount, right? 46. Awesome. So let's have a quick glance. I think the door walls, I just don't like them too much because they have these markings, right? We can go to gates though, and that will also solve that issue, right? So I think that's a good idea. And then, yeah, the steel windows for now are okay. I definitely want these bundles. Tilted walls. It's architecture. No, it's not, apparently. It's a customizer then. Not quite. What? Maybe I can't unlock it yet. That's fine. How are we looking here? That's only 16 tickets. I thought it was customizer. Oh, it is. Yeah. The steel walls, the concrete walls, all the different roofs, the glass roofs are very cool. So 34 in total. Let's get the carbon steel and the copper finish. Those two I do quite enjoy. And that's a little bit too much, right? So let's get rid of the inverted ramp bundle for now. Awesome. Very, very good. And yeah, if you take a look at the hard drive library, we have something in here that is quite interesting. If you ever need screws, like the steel screws, probably the best recipe to produce massive amounts of those, right? However, I try to stay away from screws as much as possible, but it's still, I think, important to point this recipe out, right? Then you have bio-coal and fine concrete. Both of those I have absolutely zero interest in, and we also have the cheap silica and the bolted iron plate. This one I'm just going to rescan and hope for the best. Well, we got steel rods. If you ever need a big amount of steel rods, that is definitely something to look out for, in my opinion. So we have a couple of interesting ones and one more hard drive. And I definitely will have to go out and search for more, right? So let's get this scanned as well. Cool. Yeah, awesome. So there's nothing more for us to do milestone-wise, so next time we probably need to think about the Phase 2 factory, and I am quite excited for that. Right, and I do have a plan for it already, which I need to double check if we do have any recipes in there. I'm not quite sure. I also need to check how much power it will consume, because yeah, I mean, we are basically now using half of our 2400 megawatts, right? So what I might do in the meantime, or in between episodes, I might add in more coal power. When I was exploring, as you can see, I pretty much explored most of the Dune Desert. Up here are a couple of coal nodes, and obviously right next to water, right, where we could put another coal power plant, and we need 12 fused modular frames for this drop pod up there, and then 35 high-speed connectors for that one. And there's still more that I haven't opened, right? So it's looking good. But yeah, I mean, it's when you go out explore for that long, this is bound to happen, and it's a good thing, right? That also helped us with our ticket production, right? I mean, the rotors will always have a decent production time, right? Just because we produce 4 per minute, but like everything else is cranked up, right? So you always feel like, why are they so slow? Oh, they're not that slow, it's just everything else is producing in at least like steps of 10 or 15, right? I think, or 8 for them. Yeah, even 8, right, is a massive difference to 4. It's double the production, and these only stack to 50. That is definitely also a factor. But yeah, I mean, we do have a constant stream, right, of points now. Obviously, we are at the point where we need more points. That's another awesome sentence that I didn't think I would ever say out loud. It is what it is. And yeah, that's what I thought. That's already enough to upload these to the cloud and still have a couple of them lying around. It's so useful to have them in the Dimensional Depot though, because you can now make blueprints that already have the power shards installed, right? So makes it way easier to get those done. But yeah, that concludes today's episode. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and as always, take care. Bye!